Excuse me. Hey, ladies, I hope you enjoyed week 7 as Tyler led us through an exploration of discernment. And one of the things that he wrote towards the end of chapter 7 that really resonated with me is how so many of us tend to think of discerning the Spirit's leading or the voice of the Lord as if it were some sort of puzzle that we have to decode, and we have to find that key to unlock the clues. But that way of understanding discernment really assumes something that's not true about God. It assumes that God takes delight in hiding things from his children. But in reality, what scripture makes so clear is that God delights in revealing himself to his beloved children. God delights in communicating with us. We see this from the very beginning when God delighted to walk in the garden and talk with Adam and Eve in the cool of the evening, all the way through to Jesus' delight at sharing with his disciples the realities of the kingdom of heaven, and at his promise that the Spirit would bring to our minds all that Jesus had for us. So God delights in communicating with us. So what is discernment then, if it's not unlocking the puzzle or discovering the key to mysteries? Well, it's learning on 3 different levels, I think. And the first is relational, learning to know the voice of Jesus through the Spirit. In John chapter 10, Jesus says, "My sheep know my voice." And so being in relationship with Jesus, cultivating that time that we spend with him, is the first and essential level of discerning when he is speaking to us. And then it's learning to stop talking and listen. Discernment does not happen when we are talking at God. It happens when we have expressed to God our need for direction and our need for clarity. And then we wait in silence for him to speak to us. Discernment comes as we learn to listen. We learn to know his voice, and we learn to listen. And the third level, or the third aspect of this, I don't think it's a progression, I think these things are all related, is we learn to hear and understand the cadence of a new language. If you've ever had to learn a new language, you know the difference between hearing a non-native speaker teach you words. You can learn all the vocabulary you want on Duolingo or in a Spanish language lab. But it's not the same thing as being immersed in somewhere where that language is being spoken. And you begin to hear this language has different rhythms than English or whatever your native language is. This language puts words together in different order than my native language does. And so you begin to hear the language on its own terms rather than filtering it through the translation mechanism in your brain. So you're learning to hear the language of the Spirit in the ways that the Spirit speaks. It's like a whole new language experience. I'm not talking about speaking in tongues. I'm just talking about the willingness to allow the Spirit to speak in the rhythms and the cadences of the language of heaven, not shaped by the language of earth. So I really encourage us in this learning journey of discernment to really learn to know the voice of Jesus through prayer, through scripture, through walking in silence with Him. And that will help us learn to listen, to stop talking so much and just listen as the Spirit speaks to us, and to learn to hear the Spirit on the Spirit's terms. And I pray that this will be a transformative journey and a joy-filled journey for you as you go deeper in learning to discern the voice of the Spirit. God bless you.